So, welcome back to Jisatsu 101. For starters, I am going to go for the Samomo route instead, just because it does give you more of the story that way in one playthrough than if you did Kana. So yeah, it's pretty much we pretty much only missed like a different H scene or two, like nothing really big. So yeah, let's just keep on going. What did you mean by the angel? Huh? Earlier, you said I can't see the angel anymore. Did I say that? Yeah. I don't know. I must have lost my mind for a bit. I was just saying nonsense, I think. Is it me or is the text going a lot slower? That's all. Oni-chan, turn around. I need to change into my jersey. Takuji exchanged a glance with Natane before turning his back. What was Samomo hiding? So, who's next? The second floor. Kana's classroom. Kana Tsukishiro? She's an unusual one. Knowing her, I think she might not be dead. Huh? She's been possessed too deeply. It's grown far too large for her to simply accept as fate. What are you talking about? About death? Samomo, wait out in the hallway. Komoi-san, I need you with me. So you came? The voice came from above his head. The phrase, heaps of corpses all around, had never been more literal. It was not just a metaphor. There was an actual mountain of bodies. Boys and girls alike were heaped together, stacked like sandbags, forming a single massive mound. And at the peak of that mountain, rising nearly 4 meters high, Kana Tsukishiro sat, hugging her knees. The students' throats were gaping open, their faces and clothes drenched in deep, dark red from the blood that had gushed out. Yet, strangely, there were no splatters anywhere in the classroom. Only a small pool of blood at the base of the mound. It was clear that they had not been stacked after they died. They had died as a mountain. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Like AVGN. Okay, I'll stop. The flow leading up to this moment was completely ominous, a logic that made sense only to them. Some twisted chain of reasoning that had driven them to construct a monument of death with their own bodies. And at its summit, Kana reigned, a queen of the dead. You survived, Torabishi-kun? Well, I suppose you would. I'm glad you're safe. Safe? Did you think I would kill myself? Huh? Kana smiled wryly. Then, in an instant, her expression twisted into fury. Me? With them? You've got to be kidding. As if I just obey and die because someone told me to. If dying were that simple, I would have done it hundreds of times by now. Something like, I could never become one with such meaningless death, rolling around like discarded rubble. To me, dying is something special, something that blooms quietly in an unreachable place and then falls unseen by anyone. Clutching her head, Kana let out a shrill scream. This is so unpleasant. All these weeds have trampled into my domain, acting like they've known me forever, dropping dead one after another. What a nuisance. What a nuisance. God. She resisted the wave more or less, but she's definitely at her limit. Natane muttered quietly beside Takuji. It was no surprise. Even Takuji, a man, felt like he was on the verge of breaking. There was no way Kana, who had just witnessed dozens of people take their own lives, could make it through feeling alright. The thread keeping her sanity intact was increasingly thin. If she wavered even for a moment, that thread would snap. And when it did, she would spiral into madness. And then she would break. And then finally, she would take her own life. Takuji spoke to her in a gentle voice. Calm down, Kana. I get it. You don't want to go along with everyone else. It's about your resolve. You don't want to let something as shallow as that taint your death. I'm the same. You too? Yeah. I saw something about it on TV this morning. They were talking about a lot of young people treat life and death lightly, using as a way to show off. Huh? Kana's laughter grew louder and louder until it filled the entire classroom. Ha 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 ha. Kana was laughing. She threw her head back and roared with laughter, completely ignoring Takuji, who stood there stunned silence. She kept laughing, clutching her stomach, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. The same? Like me? You? After a long period of laughter, Kana finally spoke. Don't flatter yourself, Torabishi-kun. Just because we killed cats together, just because we had sex, you really think that puts you on the same level as me? Don't make me laugh. She jabbed a finger at him, her voice rising in an unstoppable torrent of fury. Your death is nothing special. You want to die, but you're too scared to go through with it. Don't lump yourself with me. It's filthy. It degrades the sanctity of my death. You're just like all the others, like the ones piling beneath me. What? Did you read the complete suicide manual? You know, I actually looked up. I don't want to sound alarming or anything, but I actually looked up that manual. I thought we would have some, like, did I really talk about this on here? Maybe, but yeah, I thought it was have like some transgressive takes about suicide. But no, it's like purely like practical, like a in practice kind of book. Yeah, if you get what I mean. But it has a lot of like morbid facts and like the cover and like some of the design, like the art in it, like not really the art, like the kind of photography and like the design of like the graphs and everything. It's actually it's actually like well done in that I don't see it getting an official translation and publicated like in the West though anytime soon. But yeah, think to yourself, just knowing I have a last resort gives me courage. Don't pretend. You're just another coward playing the part of a disillusioned outcast because you don't have the guts to face reality. We're all the same. I didn't guide you here. I didn't let you step onto the edge of my world to create some equal standing between us. You're a tool. Do you understand? A tool. A necessary piece of the ritual of death. A tool. The ritual of death. That's all you are. A condition. Just a requirement to shape the proper circumstances for my death. You're my past, not my present. You're the person I used to be when I was nothing. So, don't you dare think otherwise. Kana, calm down. Don't move. Takuji took a step forward, but Kana sharply stopped him in his tracks. Then, for some reason, she grabbed the pendant hanging around her neck and thrust it towards him, like a priest brandishing a cross at a pursuing demon. Inside this, there's some substance. Takuji recognized the name. He had seen it before in a book Kana had lent him. It was a restricted pharmaceutical used as a sleeping aid, but in high doses, it was an extremely lethal poison. Just 2 grams were enough to stop a person's heart with absolute certainty. Of course, it was not something you could buy at a pharmacy. In fact, it was not even available in the country. But for Kana, getting her hands on it was nothing more than a trivial task, Takuji thought. Takuji had seen her take before in Building 5. She had even offered him to inhale. What are you planning to do? If you come any closer, I'll drink this. And then you'll have to live the rest of your life knowing that you killed me. Ridiculous. Is it? Didn't you say it yourself, that dying isn't that simple? I don't really get it. But you said a normal death wasn't possible for you. Isn't that why you're still here? Still alive? I changed my mind. Maybe it'll be fun to curse you before I die. Haha, isn't this exciting? Right now, I'm standing face to face with what I've been chasing all this time. I'm right at the edge of the cliff, right? Dropping cats, strangling. I've gone far beyond that. I'm just one step away from falling. And that's where I'm standing now. You always got excited by things like this, didn't you? Haha. Kana slipped her hand beneath her skirt. Not her own hand. Something that protruded unnaturally from the mountain of bodies. A girl's hand. With a thin smile, Kana began to move the dead girl's hand up and down. Is this your first time seeing a real corpse? Does it excite you? Literally mingling with the death? That type of feeling? Haha. Wait. I need a drink of water. Sorry about that. Takuji stared at her, utterly frozen. She looked completely possessed by madness. Then, he felt Natane tapping his thigh, bringing him back to his senses. Natane gave him a sign with her eyes. He followed her gaze to find Samomo. She was supposed to be waiting in the hallway, but now she had slipped into the classroom. From the opposite side of the room, she had quietly opened the front door and was crouching low, moving carefully. Hiding behind desks, creeping slowly towards the mountain of corpses, Natane whispered, "Continue talking." Huh? Keep talking to Tsukishiro-san. Keep her attention. In the meantime, Samomo will get close to the pile of bodies and restrain Kana. Takuji's mind raced as he quickly came up with a topic that would grab Kana's interest. As expected of Professor Lecter, you've already analyzed me completely, haven't you? You've already figured out exactly what kind of death has possessed me. That's it, isn't it? Of course. Even though I don't fully understand it myself. Of course. I'd love to hear it then. The true nature of what's been haunting me. Kana smirked with satisfaction. I got her, Takuji thought, until his confidence was immediately replaced by shock. She clicked open her pendant and lifted it to her mouth. Stop! A quiz. What? A continuation of a conversation on the rooftop. I'll dissect the thing that's possessed you, piece by piece. Explain it. And in between, I'll give you a quiz. That's right. The Suicide Whys and Hows quiz. Haha. If you answer correctly, you'll uncover the true nature of what's inside you. But if you get it wrong, I'll drink the medicine. That's nonsense. Oh, and you think this place isn't nonsense? That life isn't just a sick joke? You're so naive. Takuji subtly checked on Samomo's movements. She was still hiding under the teacher's podium, watching for the right moment. He needed to keep Kana's attention for a little longer. Alright. Okay. Are you ready? This is an important moment, you know. Did you save your progress? I did earlier. Let's start with the story of the Seligman experiment. They took a dog and restrained it so it couldn't move. Then, dozen times a day, they gave it electric shocks. Completely at random, without any warning. After that, they placed the dog into an experimental box. This box was also designed to deliver electric shocks, but this time, the shocks were preceded by a signal. The light would dim just before the current was applied. A low barrier divided the room. If the dog jumped over it, it would reach a safe zone where no shocks would be delivered. There was an escape route. Now then, if we put both the previously shocked dog and a normal dog into this box, what do you think would happen? Pretty sure it's the normal dog. A normal dog gradually learns how the system works. Eventually, it figures out the pattern, standing near the barrier from the start, and jumping to the other side the moment the lights dim. But the dog that experienced the previous electric shocks, it doesn't try to escape at all. It just gives up and endures the pain. Now, let's add a twist. I think this is the learned hopelessness experiment, which is too real. What if, during the initial shock phase, the dog was taught that pressing a button with his nose would stop the shocks? If that dog was then put into the electrified box, what do you think would happen? Of course, there's no button to stop the shocks this time. Shit, I don't want to get a button. Yeah, we'll avoid the shocks like a normal dog. Correct. Do you understand what the key factor is? Spirit or darkened report. Yeah, the initial electric shocks were inescapable. Good. Now let's change perspectives a bit and talk about hospitalism. Hospitalism? It's like an ideology. In understaffed institutions, babies raised without parental care have an extremely high mortality rate compared to those raised by their parents. It's not due to clerical mistakes, nor a case of neglect where someone wasn't watching them. They often catch colds, which then develop into pneumonia, and die at a much higher rate than babies who get pneumonia while living with their parents. What do you think that is? Pretty sure it's even when they cry, they're not being comforted. Yeah, that's right. Though, of course, that's not the whole story. Babies cry, don't they? Crying is how they communicate their needs. When they cry, she said, yeah. Anyway, when they cry, someone comes to comfort them. And from that, they gain two kinds of satisfaction. The first is the reassurance that when I experience distress, someone will help me. And the second is the confidence that I can influence my environment. So what happens next? They stop crying. They become silent. Even when their mother visits and leaves again, they don't react. Now, what do you think this state is called? I think it's called... yeah, I'm pretty sure... yeah, denial. Ding ding. In other words, it all comes down to this. A living being that learns it cannot change its unfavorable environment becomes dominated by helplessness, whether it's a dog silently enduring electric shocks or a baby that stops crying and withdraws inward. They are crushed by helplessness. You know, this is what I kind of mean when I think about how like the modern like fucking like I guess even like the incel shit, it's kind of like learned helplessness but pushed to an extreme, but like kind of ideal logic. Fuck. I'm having. God, I'm nervous, okay, because I'm starting school soon. My mind is like kind of stressed right now. Also, I'm jobless. Okay, I'm like not thinking straight. It's like weaponization of learned helplessness in the ideologification of it, if that makes any sense. Like the helplessness itself is not, I don't think, just by itself is not a cause for like a source of violence. It's the kind of learned helplessness that gets turned into something else, like transformed into something else. Yeah. And babies who fall into that state of helplessness also become more vulnerable to illness. That's a fact. When trapped in helplessness, one's vitality diminishes. A living thing without the will to move forward dies. It seems to me like nature's way of carrying out natural selection. A life form that is mentally unfit for the evolution of its species is automatically eliminated by nature's hand. But humans don't die that easily, do they? Yeah, learned helplessness is like, I probably sound like fucking we live in a society type shit, but like learned helplessness and all the stuff it's like a symptom of something, but it's not yet developed into a full-blown like, yeah. A weak, sickly baby might, but by the time we become students, if we get sick, we go to a hospital, and most of the time, we get better. We've evolved to the point where we can overcome nature's threats. So what's left? How does selection happen when a life form cannot be killed? They take their own life. You told me about it once before, didn't you? About the lizard. The lizard in the jar. Man, about the dog thing though, like I didn't look it up if they actually did like apply electric shocks to a dog. Like that's, I imagine it was like in the 60s or something when just fucking wilding with these experiments. Like they went crazy with the electric shocks, right? Yeah. That's right. It was helplessness that killed it. It realized it could do nothing to affect the world around it. And so it died. You're the same. You're just like that lizard in the jar. The world keeps on turning. Whether you're here or not, the gears of the world don't need you. No matter how much you struggle, the current will still flow. No matter how much you cry, no one will come. What's taking hold of you is a fatal disease called helplessness. Yo, see, we were talking about kind of the same, like the same concept, the same terminology. It's simple, isn't it? It's just like what was shown by those experiments with dogs and babies. That's all there is to you. To you, death is just like that. But I'm different. Oh, you different. I need salvation. But that salvation, in a physical sense, is impossible to receive anymore. That's why I need ritualized salvation. A ritual? You mentioned that before. That I'm just a tool for the ritual. By the way, don't worry, we will get to see Kana's story as well, even though we're going down the Samomo's route. Torabishi-kun, you're amazing. You're so smart. But not in the way these people here. Just memorizing formulas in idioms by rote. There's a far deeper wisdom within you. You're special. That's why I chose you. I'm not mocking you at all. It's because I acknowledge your existence that I chose you. Ah! Kana let out a scream. Samomo had finally made her way around the back of the mountain and, using her momentum, lunged at Kana. In that instant, Takuji also dashed forward. Let me go! Oni-chan, I got it, I took the medicine! Damn it! Damn you all! Samomo, Kana! Ah! Kana and Samomo struggled fiercely at the top of the hill, but the unstable footing could not support their movements, and in no time, both tumbled to the ground. Takuji forced his back between them and pinned Kana's arms behind her back, restraining her. In a wild frenzy, Kana thrashed, slamming the back of her head into Takuji's face in desperate resistance. Why's my eyes closing? Coward! Traitor! Weakling! Kana! Calm down! Calm down! Stop! Stop it! Damn it all! Uah! The struggle continued for a while, but in the end, it was Natane who put a stop to it. Natane. She stepped forward silently and placed her hand against Kana's forehead. In an instant, Kana collapsed like a puppet with his strings cut, unconscious. She has like Natane has like hypnotizing, like telekinesis powers or something. Anyone's ever seen the movie Cure? Yeah, it's like a 90s Denpa movie. It's pretty good. I kind of want to watch it again. Yeah, like a 90s Denpa horror movie. An abrupt and anticlimactic end to it. What? I channeled a wave of light along the natural flow of her internal energy. Damn, she channeled the holy surge into her. It neutralized the toxic residue of the suicidal impulses within her body. That said, the light I can wield is very weak. It was only because the toxicity in Tsukishiro-san was faint that I was able to counteract it. That's ridiculous. You can do it too, Torabishi-kun. Don't be absurd. Because you're one of the resistance. Open your eyes. Accept the reality of the situation. If you do, you too will experience a righteous awakening. Enough already! Samomo screamed. I don't understand any of this wave stuff. Why? Why did it have to come to this? I just want to go home. I've had enough. I just want to go home. Silence fell over them, but they did not have the luxury of dwelling in it. Takuji hoisted Kana's limp body over his shoulder and spoke. Let's go. We have to save Momiji. Momiji was the last one left. Her classroom, Takuji's classroom as well, was on the first floor of the old school building. From here, on the second floor of the new building, there were a few possible routes to it. And these blind choices, like, yeah. I think connecting hallway. Yeah. Takuji and the others sprinted towards the second floor connecting hallway. But just as they were about to reach it, Natane suddenly stopped and shouted sharply, "Stop! This hallway is dangerous." Dangerous? The waves are hitting here directly. If we go through, we might not be able to make a stand against it for long. Takuji was momentarily overwhelmed by Natane's unwavering certainty, but even if they avoided the hallway, the only remaining routes would be long detours. Now definitely don't ignore Natane. She's like, yeah, I think the fourth floor, yeah. Takuji still refused to believe in something as absurd as suicide waves. I mean, at this point, like, there's so much of this bizarre, just weird, raw shit just happened. Like, you might as well believe in it, right? I mean, you're trusting Natane anyway. Damn, I need some water, by the way. However, one thing was becoming clear, that Natane did seem to understand at least a few of the twisted rules governing this insane world. Okay, yeah. Or perhaps this was Natane's world. The thought sent a chill down Takuji's spine. What if, by some means, they had been pulled into Natane's delusional world? What if they had been swallowed by the madness swirling inside her mind? What if they were merely being toyed with by her? Everything did seem to unfold according to her will, leaving him with no real agency. It was beginning to feel that way. Now the only thing left to believe in was Natane's words. In this nonsensical world, her imagined truth was the only thing standing. And clinging to it, it seemed to be their only option. Not long after they readjusted their course, Natane once again called for them to stop. Not here either. The waves are reaching this place too. We need another route. No, this path is dangerous. The waves are directly... Enough already! Samomo finally snapped. Breathless from running, tears glistening in her eyes. What does the waves are directly reaching here even mean? I don't understand what that even means. What are we supposed to do then? While we're wasting time going in circles, who knows what's happening to Kanagi-senpai? Cut it out, Samomo. But Oni-chan... It's fine, Torabishi-kun, Natane interjected. I'm used to being misunderstood. Let's go through Samomo-san's requests one by one, shall we? First, what does it mean for the waves to be directly reaching here? What I call waves is merely a convenient term. In truth, these waves are something that can't be defined by the words on Earth. It is unlike conventional energy, which moves in straight lines from one point to another. These waves can stagnate, reflect, reverse, or reflect of their own will. There is no order, no laws. It's chaos. Complete, absolute chaos. That's why certain places, like the one ahead, become saturated with suicide waves. So basically, it's nonsense. If there are no rules, that just means you're making it all up as you go. Next question. What should we do? I can give you a clear answer to that. We need to evacuate to a shelter. Huh? Natane repeated the word, enunciating each syllable carefully. Shelter. A shelter? You mean like a nuclear shelter? That kind of shelter? Yes. I anticipated something like this happening, so I prepared a shelter in the school to protect us from the waves. To be precise, the shelter isn't finished yet. I have only collected all the materials. If we all work together and build it as fast as possible, it should take less than an hour to complete. Seriously? The science lab on the 4th floor. The old one that hasn't been used since the new labs were built. I've stocked it with everything we need to survive. You're kidding. Torabishi-kun. Natane's expression suddenly changed. It was a look Takuji had never seen before. She was angry. The blank, mask-like expression she always wore was gone, as if he had never been there in the first place. That was how angry she looked. Do you really think I joke about something like that in an emergency like this? Do you even understand? We have to survive. We have to survive and prepare for the final battle. We have to fight them. They will come in droves. In the final battle, warriors from all over the world will gather, across nations, across races, across ideologies, across beliefs, across genders. We will unite. We will fight together. We are the chosen warriors. We have been chosen for the final holy war. Damn, Lord. And yet, you still don't get it, Torabishi-kun. She fired off her words like a machine gun. Then, just as suddenly, the anger drained from her face, like the tide pulling away from the shore. In the end, her usual emotionless expression returned. Those were all the questions, right? Come on, Torabishi-kun. We all need to go back to the 4th floor. We have to build the shelter before the final wave arrives. Takuji felt Samomo clinging to him, her fingers tightening around his sleeve. But no matter how much he wanted to respond to that silent plea, he could not find anything solid within himself to hold on to. Everything was chaos. There was no logic to be found, no fragment of truth to grasp. What should I do? What would be the best for me to do? Yeah, we have to rescue Momiji. Well, we can't leave our childhood friend, our childhood tomboy friend alone. That Komoi-san can see things the rest of us can't. I still can't believe it. It doesn't seem like a lie. She sends these waves over and over, and every time she saved me. So you're just going to abandon Kanagi-senpai? No, I'm not abandoning her. Komoi-san, I'm counting on you to take Samomo and Kana. Oni-chan? I'm going, so please, take them to the shelter. No way. I don't want to. I'm going with you. You can't. No. If you refuse to go with Komoi-san, then I have no choice but to leave Momiji behind. I can't put you in danger just to save her. I understand. Samomo. But you have to promise, okay? You have to come back. If you die, Takuji gently wrapped his arms around Samomo's trembling shoulders. Then, after passing Kana, still slung over his shoulders, to the other two, he turned to Natane. The science lab on the 4th floor, right? What about it? The shelter. That's right. But you'll never make it to the shelter. That's cold. I'm just stating an obvious fact. Personally, I find it very unfortunate. Well, thanks. Losing you here would be a major blow to the warriors of Earth. A truly sorrowful thing. I like how Natane is like semi-sarcastic now. If I die, that is, you will die. Will I? You will die. Takuji shrugged and told them to go. He watched as Samomo and the others disappeared down the hallway, glancing back at him again and again until they were out of sight. Alright, he muttered. The corridor was eerily silent. As far as the eye could see, there was nothing. Even so, Natane said it was filled with waves. Not knowing what these waves actually were, he had no way of deciding whether he should sprint through as fast as possible or proceed carefully and quietly. Yeah, dash. Is it better to dash in the rain or like walk in the rain? Let's just dash through it. His heartbeat pounded loudly in his ears. Silence. Not a single sound could be heard from this place. Had everyone died? Was it because the entire area was filled with waves? What actually happened to someone when they were consumed by these waves? Did they suffocate? Did their minds go completely blank? Were they taken over by aliens? A crushing, unseen pressure bore down on him. Why did he have to endure this kind of fear? Why was he struggling so much in the first place? He had always thought about dying, yet he never had the courage to go through with it. But maybe now was the perfect opportunity for it. But maybe right now he could die, he felt. No, Taguchi, you're letting it get to you. He felt he could effortlessly slip out of a bottle. Maybe I should just die. Maybe I should just die. Maybe I should just die. Had that not always been his mantra? His mantra? I can't. I told you I can't pronounce shit. I always can't pronounce anything. But he no longer needed the passport of self-loathing. He no longer needed the pride of pretending he was somehow different from others. Right in front of him, the exit to death stood wide open. There was nothing holding him back. I should die. I should die. Before he realized it, his feet had become to a complete stop. He stood frozen in the hallway, staring blankly ahead. Was this what it meant to be consumed by the waves? By the time he had that thought, it was already too late. Tears streamed down his face, blurring his vision beyond a few meters. His legs felt heavy. He could barely stand. His chest tightened, and even breathing became difficult. He could do nothing anymore. Takuji collapsed in the middle of the hallway. Curled up like a fetus, he sobbed, but it did not hurt. On the contrary, he felt a sense of peace he had never known before. Like his entire body was wrapped in a soft, comforting jelly. He no longer understood why he was crying. He no longer understood why he had feared this in the first place. To live or to die. It no longer seems to be the key to deciding human happiness or unhappiness. The dead are made complete, and the living stand on the deck of a departing ship, pressing their hands together in farewell. Is that the supposed Dazai quote? I still need to read where that's from. The ship quietly slips away from the pier. Death is a good thing. A good thing. I should die. But I don't have the tools. I don't have a cutter. I need a cutter. I need to find it fast. I don't want to go back. I don't want to return to the bottle. That's why I need the cutter. 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 Why is it called a cutter? Cutter. Cutter. It's called a cutter because it cuts, right? Cutter. Why don't I just buy a cutter? Cutters are expensive. Cutter. C-U-T-T-E-R. Cutter. Takuji crawled like a caterpillar, heading towards his classroom. He crawled through the hallway, tumbled down the stairs, and finally reached his classroom. All the places with bruises and scrapes throbbed painfully. Was it supposed to be scraps? Is scrapes a word? I don't. But none of that mattered anymore, because everything was over. He managed to pry open the classroom door and stumbled towards his desk. Inside the desk, there should have been the cutter he had just bought the other day. If he had that, everything would be okay. Everything would work out. Classmates were in the way. They're in the way. In the way. Why do they keep getting in my way? In the way. His hand slipped into the sticky, muddy mess. What's this? In the way. Finally reaching his desk, Takuji mustered all his strength, sat down heavily in the chair. He sighed, beginning to grope through the contents of his desk with both hands. Textbooks. I don't need them. Handouts. I don't need them. Binders. I don't need them. Scissors. Almost. Cutter. Ding ding! As he pulled out the cutter, Takuji pushed the blade out with a sharp click and pressed it against his throat. It's over. I can finally escape from the bottle. Alright. The end. Awake at last? A sudden, out-of-place voice jolted him. In front of him, he found an unfamiliar face before him. A middle-aged man. He looked to be in his 40s, maybe 50s. With a flurry of wings, a noise fluttered by his ear. Turning his head, he saw a birdcage beside him. Inside, a blue bird beat its wings. Takuji, still wary, took in his surroundings. First, he noticed the cutter in his hand was gone. The air felt different. He glanced around. This was not his classroom. White walls, a metal frame bed, a ventilation fan spinning lazily overhead. This was a dream? It was the same dream world he saw during class before, the White Room. But can you still dream after dying? Or does the fact he's dreaming mean he's still alive? Or maybe this is the afterlife, and he really is dead. Am I dead? At his question, the middle-aged man simply smiled. You must have had quite a terrible dream. But don't worry, you're 100% safe now. This is the hospital. You can call me Professor. Yeah, these are like the Dogra Magra inspired bits. Professor? The name sounded familiar as he searched his memory. He recalled, yes, the name Professor had come up in a previous dream. So I was right. A girl's voice speaking from beyond a wall had warned him. Be careful of the professor. Takuji regarded the man with slight caution. A bony, gaunt face, large round eyes that seemed almost stuck in place, a sharp nose, thin lips. His features were striking, intelligent, perhaps, but also cold and severe. His hair, streaked with gray, was slicked back and stiffened with oil. Based on my previous experiences, I'll get straight to the point. The professor stood up from the chair beside the bed and spoke. You exhibit a certain condition, a rare disorder that causes you to experience periodic memory loss. Memory loss? I've been studying your condition in this hospital for 9 months now. In other words, you've been here with me for 9 months. Yet right now, you believe this is the first time you ever seen me. Is that right? Takuji gave a small nod. What kind of joke was this? For a dream, it was strangely elaborate. The professor paced around the room as he continued speaking. Typically, amnesia doesn't erase everything. For example, you wouldn't forget how to walk and become unable to move. Excuse me. Or forget Japanese and be unable to speak. Or lose the ability to do basic arithmetic. The extent to which knowledge depends on the functions of the right or left brain. Well, there are many complexities. But to put it simply, what's usually lost is acquired knowledge, things learned after birth. However, you forget everything. For example, even like who the person it's that you are. Wait, please, Takuji interrupted the professor. I don't know why I'm here, but I at least know who I am. Oh? Takuji Turabishi. I live in XX district, XX town. I'm just an ordinary male student at XX school. Just an average high school student. I see. So this time, your name is Takuji Turabishi. This time? The last time you woke from a coma, you called yourself Nobuhisa Fujita. You said you were a student living in Morioka. You regularly fall into a comatose state, and each time you wake up, you exhibit a rather fascinating. It's always poorly-faced. Don't take offense. What I mean is, you display a unique symptom. In other words, every time you wake up, you are reborn as a completely different person. At first, I considered the possibility of multiple personality disorder, but after 9 months of research, I've come to a different conclusion. What's happening to you is what I call dream invasion. Yeah, we going hard on the Dogra Magra shit. The whole like, I don't want to spoil that either because it is also psychological like mystery slash like anti mystery, like paradoxical anti mystery work of peak standards. But yeah, this whole like cycle of the whole dream invasion thing and like the cycle of memories. Your mind is being influenced by dreams. When you lose your memory, your consciousness becomes a blank state, allowing dreams to imprint themselves onto it, and you, in turn, accept them as reality. This time, the dream you absorbed was Takuji Torabishi's. That, of course, is just a hypothesis. The truth still lies only within your own mind. At those words, Takuji pressed a hand to his forehead. Could this really not be a dream? The man before him insisted that this world was reality, while the familiar world he had known was nothing more than a dream. Under normal circumstances, he would have laughed this off as an elaborate dream. But the bizarre events he had experienced just moments ago were far too unreal to have occurred in the real world. If anything, this world felt much more grounded in reality. You're confused. That always seems to happen right after you wake up. But don't worry, it will pass soon. It's just a matter of perception. Soon enough, you'll understand that this is the real world. The world you were in before, did it not feel like it lacked a true sense of reality? Isn't that right? That's the nature of dreams. Yeah, I think this might be a good stopping point. Mainly because school and shit will start soon. I still haven't gotten my sleep schedule fixed, but it's like uploading really scarcely too. My bad. It's just been kind of like trying to live happily or like survive happily for the end of summer. I don't know, I've just been lacking energy, like motivation a lot these days. Like holy shit, we're already at actual end of summer. God, I don't even know where I'll be next summer. Seriously, felt like yesterday was just like early June. Like how it felt like a dream, yeah. Like it, yeah, like yeah. Yeah, have a good whatever good back to school if you go to college or something, and cuz I surely am. Yeah. Anyway, see y'all. God, my thing is fucking up. Yeah, see y'all. See y'all.